In the world of Hyrule, we come across a lot of interesting creatures, characters, and even enemies. They terrorize travelers, annoy the heck out of Link, and make most caves and dungeons a dangerous place. But in a lot of cases, Nintendo rarely explains where these terrifying beasts come from, and so a lot of it remains a mystery. Due to this, I think it is time we look into some of them to figure out where they actually come from. And to start off, we will look at the ChuChus, a slimy foe that kind of appears out of nowhere. So where do they come from? How is this bundle of slime even alive? And was someone involved in their creation? Well, let's find out. Now, ChuChus are gelatinous creatures of living slime or jelly, and are often depicted with facial features, so they really are alive. Aside from that, they come in a wide variety of colors and types, with some having different traits and behaviors depending on their color. For example, some of them are electric. These can be seen in the Wind Waker, where they use this power to defend themselves from enemies like Link. In general, they are relatively simple enemies to defeat. Most varieties can be felled by a simple slash with the sword, while some types must first be stunned with another item. And when defeated, most also leave behind something called choo jelly. This is a valuable ingredient with incredible powers, and so it's often used for powerful potions. Clearly, they are simple but odd creatures. When they spawn in, they come out of nowhere, and in general, they are easy to defeat. But the jelly they drop is incredibly powerful, and filled with all kinds of magic that has healing properties or even elemental powers. So in a way, they are special, but really we don't know anything about this enemy. We get small details here and there in some of the games, but it really isn't much. But I've come up with some possible explanations on where these weird, jiggly beings originally came from. Now, our first possibility is tied to the most recent Zelda game Nintendo released, Breath of the Wild, because in that game we come across another goopy substance that has tremendous power, and it can create what looks like living beings. I'm of course talking about Malice. This is a thick, black and magenta tar-like substance, and sometimes they even have a glowing eye, which, when destroyed, causes a large chunk of Malice to dissipate. And this stuff can also create all kinds of beings using its dark powers, like cursed bokoblins, cursed moblins, and cursed lizalfos. So clearly this slime has quite special powers, and personally I think there's a chance that ChuChus are also a kind of Malice. They seem to be alive, have quite special powers, and attack Link, which are all things Malice has as well. So a lot of things make sense, but there are also some things that don't fit at all. For example, in basically every Zelda game where we see ChuChus, we can see that the slime that remains can be used to create powerful potions that restore health or give you special powers. But Malice doesn't really do that, to be honest. If you touch Malice, it will only damage you, and any of the other Malice beings in Breath of the Wild don't drop anything useful. In a lot of ways, they are still different. Sure, it could be that the ChuChus are some sort of alternative Malice, or some sort of early version, but there are also enough arguments against this claim. But, luckily enough for you, I have other explanations for where they came from, because these ChuChus are quite special after all. In a lot of games, their slime has beyond amazing powers. For example, in Twilight Princess, the rare choo jelly possesses the same properties as Great Fairy's tears, in that they will restore all of your hearts and double your strength for 16 seconds. And in Breath of the Wild, the ChuChus drop incredibly powerful jelly filled with loads of elemental energy. So due to this, I think there's also a chance that these creatures are some sort of alive, due to the immense magical power they hold. This alone gives them the power to move, become sentient to an extent, and attack others they don't really like, such as Link. Now still, it doesn't really explain where they came from, but I guess energy can form and build up anywhere, which could lead to the creation of a ChuChus. Now if this is truly how it works, then it would also mean that taking out a ChuChus doesn't do much unless you scoop up the jelly, because if you don't do this, then the jelly and its energy will create a brand new one, which is actually something we see in certain Zelda games. For example, in Majora's Mask, they will constantly respawn and you can't scoop up their jelly. And in Twilight Princess, we can also see that smaller ChuChus can join together to become one big ChuChu. So it does seem to be a thing. However, we don't see this in every Zelda game out there. So while this idea is certainly interesting, there are some problems with this explanation. But luckily enough, I have one last option. And personally, I think this one is the most likely. But regardless of that, I think the other two are still valid and right in certain cases. Now in Breath of the Wild, we come across one enemy that is both silly but also shockingly powerful. The Wizrobe. They can shoot fireballs, make it rain fire, and so much more, all by using their special elemental wand. And they can also create all kinds of enemies out of thin air as long as they have the same elemental powers as the Wizrobe's wand. Now one of these is the ChuChu. So could it be that the Wizrobe plays a role in the origin of the ChuChus? Well, personally, I think the answer is yes. I mean, in Breath of the Wild, we literally see them create ChuChus. But this isn't the only game where they seem to be linked, because in the Wind Waker, you can see this as well. In that game, you have an island known as Paw Print Isle, and this place is filled with ChuChus. And interestingly enough, you can also find Wizrobes here. There's a cave on the island where you can get your hands on a silver rupee, but first you have to defeat numerous Wizrobes. So it could be that the insane amount of ChuChus found on the island are there due to the Wizrobes. It could be that they put them on the island so that no one would bother them in their hidden little cave. Now, due to this, I think there's a good chance that the ChuChus are created by enemies like Wizrobes, and I bet other powerful sorcerers like Ganondorf can also create them. I mean, they respawn when the blood moon rises in Breath of the Wild, so that already kind of shows that it's possible. Now, these are my theories for the potential origin of the ChuChu, a strange enemy that seems simple but is surprisingly powerful. Obviously, my takes aren't perfect, but hey, that's kind of impossible to be honest. And in the end, the answer could also be very simple. It is often said that the ChuChus were designed after slugs, and in the real world, they reproduce via eggs. So maybe that's the case in the Zelda universe as well, but we have never seen them. I mean, this wouldn't really be an interesting explanation, but it is one that Nintendo would use. They usually want to keep things simple and don't think too much about stuff like this. But let me know in the comments down below what you think, and don't forget to check out my other videos. Thank you all so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you want me to do more videos like this, let me know in the comments down below. Also like and subscribe, help your boy out. Hell yeah, gang gang. You know how stuff goes. Peef poof pow. Excitement, action scene, Avengers, Marvel, you know, that's what kids like nowadays, right? Or well, they don't. I mean, that She-Hulk show kind of ruined it, didn't it? They kind of, they kind of lost their A-game. But hey, that's kind of besides the point. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, click the bell button, and do every other good stuff. Yay, bye. I read the comments. I see what you type.